You heard it here. Lena Dunham is actually the Zodiac Killer. We're breaking down that crazy reveal and everything else that happened on Cult this week on American Horror Story Dissected. Hi, I'm Sadie Guinness.
And I'm Keisha Hatchett.
And that had to be like the most ridiculous episode of Cult all season, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely insane, went in directions I did not see coming, and I think we should get into it.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Valerie Solanas Died for Your Skin's Scumbag, turn back now. It is amazing. So this was the big episode with Lena Dunham as Valerie Solanas, who is famously the woman who shot Andy Warhol. How did you think of Lena's performance?
She is definitely entertaining. I could not take my eyes off that wig.
The wigs, the hats, the accent, she was so American Horror Story level over the top, and I was kind of into it.
Yeah, she was definitely a lot of fun to watch, and she had some great lines, especially when she was shooting Evan Peters as Andy Warhol.
She said a very good line that I don't know if we can say on air, but it was great. She was really funny. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I think so. They had to know it was comedic. When Andy Warhol's eating the burger, it was great.
Exactly. It was a lot of fun, and it was just great to see Lena Dunham come in because we'd all been expecting her to appear in the episode, and yeah, she definitely delivered.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it far more than I thought I would, and when they announced that they were going to do this flashback, I had no idea how it was going to connect to the main narrative and was kind of worried. But we found out this week it's because Valerie's ex-girlfriend, Bibi, comes into the present and meets Beverly and basically is I knew that assassination attempt was staged. Kai is totally going to turn against you and all the other women. You need to band together. And I don't know, this dynamic is a little interesting to me.
Yeah, Bibi came to play. She is from the old school, extreme feminism. She was part of Valerie's group, The Scum, which I love is titled.
Yeah. I just love that she's still, even now, is wearing the cloaks and smoking the cigars. Frances Conroy is a queen in this episode, and I need so much more of her.
Yes, and that fierce bang.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. And yeah, she was just ready to stir up the pot and get these women really riled up against Kai and his cult of men who have sort of taken over.
Yeah, and Beverly was definitely, I think this was just the straw that broke her back. She had been sort of sensing for a while that it wasn't this equal power situation that Kai initially promised her, and she has no patience for BS, you know? She killed her own cameraman because she thought of him as a weak link, and so when Kai's getting all of these, straight white male followers, and, Harrison too, but, she could see sort of the balance of power shifting away from her and the other women, and Bibi just, pushed her over that edge and I think forced her hand sooner than it otherwise would have been.
Yeah, Beverly definitely was reclaiming her time, and she really just wanted to, not be passed over, because we've seen before in the series, with the promotion with Emma Roberts' character, that she's not here for being put in the backseat anymore, that she's going to drive the ship, and you better move out of her way.
And so she finally does take a stand. She rallies Ivy and Winter, and they decide to kill Harrison.
No big, just...
I mean, I miss Billy. I'm gonna miss Billy Eichner a lot, but I don't know how I feel about this cult versus cult war we're about to have going on. We find out at the end of the episode that Bibi was actually working with Kai, and he clearly wanted them to kill Harrison. He wanted them to turn against him, and I'm just not quite sure what his game is here.
I think it has to do with chaos. It's the first idea that Kai introduced when we first see him, and it's been his plan all along. So, just playing off these strong emotions between both sides of the argument. You have the men and their power and patriarchy, and then you have the women who are upset with the patriarchy and want to, make their own stance. So what better way to cause chaos than have those two ideals going against each other?
I think it also serves another purpose, which is that he already eliminated Meadow. He's discredited Allie. There are only a couple other people left who know that he was involved in the clown murders. If he can get them to start acting rashly and doing their own crimes that he's not involved in, he can get them sent in jail and get them discredited. So if they ever did want to go public about him, who's going to believe them? They're murderers, and he's now a stand-up politician.
Listen, the best way to clear your hands of any wrongdoing is to get everyone to do the bidding for you.
Yeah. And I actually kind of like it. It's the twist was very exciting. It reminded me American Horror Story is not always as predictable as maybe it has been this season. So I'm excited to see what's coming next.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see how Kai is going to manipulate everyone, because he is the master manipulator and he is scary as heck.
Yeah. Someone has to catch on soon, hopefully. But until then, we need to talk about a major potential plot hole in this episode. So it's time for Connect the Dots, our segment where we talk about connections to previous seasons of Horror Story. And this was either a huge reveal or a major plot hole. I'm not sure yet. They revealed that Valerie Solanas and her radical feminist cult were actually the people behind the Zodiac killings. But then, if you remember back in Hotel, we saw the Zodiac killer. He's wearing the same outfit as Valerie, but this is a man. He has had a male voice. And so if the ghost of the Zodiac killer is this lone wolf man, that doesn't exactly jive with BB's story that she told Beverly and the women.
What if she's just Batman and disguised her voice?
Or maybe it was all made up. Maybe BB made up that whole story about the Zodiac killer just as a means to get Beverly and them to act. And that was also part of Kai's plan. Because otherwise, who is that guy? It's not the cult member who started acting on his own and Valerie killed him. That's not the true Zodiac, so why would he be invited to Devil's Night? I think it just exposed that Valerie's story was fake, or BB's story was fake.
Well, that's true, because you can't really trust BB since she is kind of in league with Kai.
Yeah. I really want that to be the case, because if this is just a discrepancy and a big plot hole, I'm going to be so upset, because there's nothing I love more than trying to find the connections and tracking the different timelines in the seasons. And so if this turns out just to be a mess up, I will be heartbroken, because that's one of my favorite parts about watching this show.
Yeah, definitely playing with the timelines. But, you can't trust Ryan Murphy all the time when he reveals a big detail like that, because it'll come back.
So wait, are you saying that you don't believe that Lena Dunham is actually the Zodiac killer?
No, I'm going to go with you and say that BB is making this up because it's the only logical explanation is to get these women riled up. And how do you do that?
Pretend someone, it's a ridiculous lie to tell. She could have told so many lies. I'm glad it was that one. It was actually hilarious. I was laughing on my couch in the best way possible. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode this week. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and I can't wait for next week to see how these warring factions will play out and what Beverly's going to do next now that she's taken her stance and, especially on the news report, sort of kind of debunking Kai's promise for keeping the peace.
And we'll be talking about all of that, and I'm thinking where Winter is going to fit in between these warring factions next week on American Horror Story Dissected.
And remember, keep it spooky.